Well, hello traders and investors, I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap, where we take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective. We're doing it different than most folks. We take a look at what happened today. We ask ourselves, what does that tell us about the coming days? We do the show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, broadcast at before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's archived on YouTube. It's on the channel, L.A. Little. Do a weekly show as well, same time, Sunday evenings. And if you haven't subscribed, you should really reach up there and subscribe. Free and easy. Keeps you up to date with what's going on. As far as what's going on, last night, there were some subtle signs last night, and I kind of went over what they were and why I thought the markets would pull back today. And sure enough, that is what we got, right? It was a press in particular on big cap technology again. That's been the weakness now, if you remember, since the beginning of this year. Each of these sell-offs has been led by big cap technology and the NDX. And so that was the mover today, down 1.62%. The Russell actually outperformed today versus big cap technology. If we look elsewhere, gold has a nice spike up. We had oil down almost 5%. News there that Iran thought this freeze was probably ridiculous. Saudi Arabia more or less came out against it. We had the DAX down. We thought that might happen as well. And in general, pretty much what we were thinking last night did take place. And I had some folks asking me about trend and what's going on with the markets. And so I want to bring you here resources. If you're a registered member, you can log in, resources, get to this market trends page. If you pop this up, right, you're going to see that this is solidly bearish on the intermediate term time frame. We're talking about the weekly time frame. And so on a weekly time frame, solidly bearish, both here on the indexes, but not just the indexes, also on the sectors. If you pull the sectors up and look at them, you've got one sector sideways, and guess what it is? Big cap technology for the most part, right? We're talking technology. That's the only one that hasn't gone bearish yet. The only outstanding contrary trade here is what? Utilities. The most safest place out there, right? Tied to bonds basically, right? Bullish right across the board. And it's confirmed bullish right across the board. And so if you're looking for a safety play, that's where it is. And if you're looking at this and you're saying, wow, if the only place money's going is in utilities, that doesn't speak very well of the rest of the market. And folks, that is true. That is the problem right now. Energy sideways, basic materials sideways. Those two have popped up. They've been having a hard time. They've been in bear markets for a while. You can see that over here. Those are the only two with long-term bear market moves. And so if you're getting a turn, at least an attempted turn on the short term, when in fact they have been the weakest one on the longer term time frame. And so when you're looking at, just at this, you can gain a lot of information about what's moving out there and where you might want to be positioned. And of course, that's what I do for members. I try to tell them, what's moving, where's the highest probability trades, and how they can probably take advantage of it. And, if you want to be a member, come over to the front page. It's pretty easy. Just pop in here, hit the Get Started button. You pop down, become a member. It's like 15 bucks a month. If you can't make money on 15 bucks a month of knowledge, you're probably not going to make money. Let's look at the charts. Let's see what's happening here. We're going to start with the S&P 500. And so if we pull the S&P up, all right, the S&P last night was right up here. We talked about it was going to try to test into the swing point high in this big volume bar from over here. As it tried to get up there last night, it just missed it by 50 cents. And then what happens? Well, today it doesn't even get a chance, just turns around and starts to pull back. Now, volume didn't expand today. It's a pullback off of a test or an attempted test. Didn't quite get the test. So this chart, if I'm looking at it, all it says is, hey, I respected the idea that this is probably resistance up here, and I'm probably going to trade down off of it, and that's what I did. So, from that perspective, it did what it should do, although it didn't actually get the test. If I go over and I look at the NASDAQ composite, right? NASDAQ composite A little bit different here in that this is back inside that big swing point low. And so if we go back over here to the swing point low, this area here, it's back inside of it one more time. And if you look at the NDX, it's the exact same picture. It's back inside of it as well. And of course on the Russell held up a little bit better today, but it's trying to grab back inside that bar as well. So in all these cases, when we look at the indexes, right, we got that pullback that we were thinking we might see. It wasn't. It really wasn't that clearly defined yesterday, because if you remember, when we looked at the DAX itself, and here's the DAX, when we looked at the DAX itself was trying to push up and had gotten over the swing point high. Well, guess what? It's back inside of it today as well. We kind of thought that might happen. The reason we thought that was because of currencies. But when we look at the currencies, the currencies really didn't do any damage to these markets. What did the damage was really just an extension, right? Like we talked about, a fast extension to the upside. But then also that bugaboo that's been out there for quite a while, which is oil. Oil pushes up, 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 and then it comes back today on the news, as I said at the top of the show here, where the Iranians are saying, what freeze? Well, we're not going to make a freeze. And so we got to pull back. So oil is going to be a tell tomorrow. It's going to be something to watch. There's not a lot of support for where it is right now. I'll draw it in for you. It's this little area here. That's the support zone. It's right into it, right? We're taking this high volume bar and this high volume bar, and he's saying, that's where it's probably going to have to try to hold. If it doesn't, then it's all the way back down to here again. And so tomorrow will probably be a key day in the oil market. Tomorrow also is Wednesday, so it's the middle of the week. And I was just looking at the calendar here. So you got you got a Monday that has still, because we have the leap year this year. So 29th is on Monday. So it's not, the end of the month is not the end of this week. So that's probably going to be the tell. Let's look over at the currencies real quick. The dollar, dollar still hanging up there at that retest regen off that swing point low. So that's a bearish retest regen. It's trying to regenerate to the lower side. If we look at the euro actually came back in, tested some more today, and it still can't get under it. If this euro does flip around and heads back the other way, which is what it should do here, right? And that was one of the things we were looking at last night. If this euro takes and flips back around off of this retest regenerate and starts heading back the other way, right, then that is going to put pressure on the European markets. And finally, if we look at the yen and Japan, the yen all the way back to the highs. It's actually kind of amazing to me, because they look so smart when they did their little negative interest rate right there. And look at where it is now. This thing is going to try to continue to climb, and as it does, it's going to continue to put a lot of pressure on the Japanese markets. What's the tell for tomorrow? Given that synthesis of information, right? I mean, looking at all those markets, it looks to me like the big trade tomorrow in terms of where we go is going to be centered around oil. But the market I'd be watching is the one I brought up right here at the beginning, and that's the NDX. NDX back into this zone. If the NDX gets a little bit lower, in particular, if the NDX gets under, excuse me there, let me grab the eraser. If the NDX gets under this little ledge it's created right into here, right, there's not much to stop it until it gets down to the bottom. So I think that's going to be the key market you want to keep your eye on tomorrow for a tell intraday if you're into that kind of thing. Of course, I'll be updating members as we go. If you want to be a member, just come over and join. It's 2 weeks free, and you can check out what we do and how we do it. I've got a lot of good stuff going on now. We're doing video trades now here in LA's room, and I'm taking the cradle to grave trade and showing people how to trade it. We've been short the Qs. They pushed us right to the edge, but we hung in there. We'll see if we make some money on that trade come tomorrow. Folks, thanks for joining me. Tell a friend, tell two. I'm LA. This is and was your daily NeoTA wrap. Have yourself a great night, and I'll see you next time. Good night.